I've tested over 1,000 kitchen gadgets here on YouTube, looking at their quality, ease of use, and how much time they actually save. But today, I'm sharing the ones that I still use, still love, and would buy again in a heartbeat, with 3 simple rules. Number 1, I've had to use it at least once a week for the past 12 months. Number 2, it has to genuinely save time or make cooking easier. And number 3, no big appliances like air fryers or blenders, just small everyday tools. Let's get into it. Every olive oil bottle I've tried either dripped or clogged until I found this one. And there are a couple features I really like about it. So number 1, you can pull this little tab on the top, it flips open the lid and gives you this pour spout. So if you want to just pour out some olive oil, it makes it super easy to control pour and then doesn't drip at all. But number 2, you can close that lid back up and instead use this tab on the back. And when you push it down, it acts like a spray bottle. So you can kind of control the spray in a little finer area than you would be pouring the oil. And lastly, it's really easy to refill the bottle because all you have to do is twist open the lid and you get this huge wide mouth to pour more olive oil into it. Overall, I find myself using this olive oil bottle every single time I cook. Next up is a Mandoline slicer, and after trying 5 or 6 of them, there's a reason I stick with this one. Now it opens pretty simply just like this, and then you've got your blade inside of here. And the one really important thing to note is that these blades are incredibly sharp, which is really good for cutting, but also a bit dangerous, so you've got to be a little bit careful with them. Now the blades easily just pop out of this hole so you can swap them out, and it comes with all sorts of different attachments. And you can pretty much cut or dice up anything with it. I'm gonna start with just an onion to show you how easy that is. So I'll take half of an onion that I've already peeled, kind of just set it onto there with a very light push so it stays still, and then I'm gonna push this down with just a little bit of force here. I don't even know what to say. I was just reaching across the table too much. And okay, if I wasn't reaching across the counter, you'd see how easy it was, but I'm gonna do it one more time. And there you go. We've got our onion fully diced. You can lift this up and you've got just perfectly diced onions in literally a few seconds. And also, as you saw, when you're actually chopping, your fingers are nowhere near the blades, so unlike other Mandoline slicers, it is a bit safer. Now I'm gonna swap it out for a different type of blade, basically just a thicker dice here. And I'm gonna use a potato so that we can get some thick cut French fries. Once again, just place that on, put a small amount of pressure so it stays in place, and let's hit this down onto that. And they're all through on the first try. And there you go, there's our thick cut French fries perfectly ready to cook. The only other minor downside with this product is that after you use it, there's quite a few pieces to clean between the actual container that you're dicing into, the lid, which stays relatively clean most of the time, but sometimes in these grates up here, you get a little bit of a mess. And then of course you've got the blade itself and the holder for the blade here that you've got to quickly rinse as well. So if you're only cutting a few slices of onion, it's probably not worth pulling out, but for any significant amount of chopping, it'll save you so much time. If you cook often, you know that most food processors are either bulky or don't chop very well. But this one, look how small it is, and it's incredibly powerful. So I'm gonna start off taking off all the pieces, and I'm gonna throw in a bunch of just rolled oats. And you're gonna watch it turn these oats into oat flour. So I'll get this filled up, maybe about like halfway or so with rolled oats. Then the cover piece goes on, the lid to the processor goes on top of that, and all you have to do is push down on this button and turn it into flour. And after about maybe 20 seconds of processing, look at that. We have perfectly processed oat flour just ready to be used. But I'm also gonna make the task slightly more difficult and turn peanuts into peanut butter, a task that my blenders struggle with pretty often. So once again, I'm gonna fill like 1/3 to half of the container with peanuts, get it back together, and let's process this up. And less than 60 seconds later, look how creamy that peanut butter is. That's with no oil or anything else added, just made in this food processor with peanuts. And I also love that there's not a lot of parts to clean up. You've obviously got the little protective cover that just needs a quick rinse, the container that stores whatever you're blending, and the little blade with it. And then sometimes the cap itself needs a slight rinse around the top here. In this case, it does need a little bit of water, but overall it's pretty minor to clean. And you can even store whatever you blended inside of there there and close the lid to keep it airtight. Also, after a year of constant use, it's just as sharp and just as fast as when I got it. If you use a manual can opener, you might not think about it too much until you're trying to open a huge can while your food is burning on the stove. So I've been using an automatic can opener for over a year now, and it's really easy to use. You can take a can of any size, you just place it on the top right there, putting the blade right here on the edge of the can, as you would with a regular can opener, and then all you have to do is click this button on the top and it starts automatically spinning and opening for you. And then once it finishes a full circle around, you just click the button, it stops, and you can pull the lid right up. It magnetizes to the can opener, and then it doesn't leave any sharp edges either. You can rub your finger on it and you won't injure yourself at all. And of course, because of the design, I've used it on cans that are as small as cans can be and cans that are as large as I've possibly seen them. It works on all sizes. So yeah, it sounds completely unnecessary to have an automatic can opener until you use one and realize it's saving you time while you make the rest of your dinner. The easiest way to mix up protein shakes, batters, or sauces is obviously with a blender, but it feels silly to haul out a blender for just one small thing. So I like to use this Gila Mix bottle. Now, as you can see, it has nothing inside, no blender ball or anything like that, but it does have this kind of vortex design with the lines here that if you spin it, kind of looks like a tornado. And that design is kind of the magic behind how this actually blends things up. I'll show you with a little protein shake. So I'm gonna fill this with about 12 ounces or so of milk, and then this packet of chocolate brownie batter protein powder. I'll pour the whole thing in, throw on the lid, and once again, no blending ball, nothing else is going inside. And I'm just gonna shake this up. It only takes about 10 seconds or so. And although it's hard to see on camera because I'm moving the thing, it does create a bit of a vortex inside from the shape. And after 10 seconds or so of mixing that up, look how perfectly blended it is. I'm going through a strainer so you can see that there are no chunks inside of here. And there you go, there might be some, and there you go, you can see just little tiny pieces that didn't get fully blended. I probably should have shook it about 3 or 4 more seconds, but there's nothing actually left inside of the bottle there. And so overall, it's like 97% blended in 10 seconds of shaking, which I think is pretty good. And since there's no additional pieces, it cleans just as easily too. It's just these 2 pieces you have to wash and they can go in the dishwasher. Although I cook with garlic daily, one of my least favorite things is peeling and chopping it, which is where this garlic press comes along. Now the press is pretty straightforward. It's made of metal and your garlic goes inside of here. And one of the best parts about the press is that you don't have to peel the garlic before putting it in. And you can fit in multiple cloves if they're nice and small. So here you can see I'm actually fitting about 3 cloves into there. Then you just close it up and it's going to press through here when I pull the 2 handles together. And it's pretty easy to squeeze that garlic through as well, even with 3 cloves in there. You can see it all squeezing out. A little bit gets stuck on there, but this little red bar right here, as you pull up the handle, slides down and picks up the rest of the garlic, scraping it off of there. And then as you pull it back, that garlic kind of falls down. Now a little bit gets stuck on there sometimes and it doesn't fully scrape it. You can do it twice and then help it out with your finger a little bit, and that should get most of it. And not only that, but after pressing out the garlic, you obviously still have the peels that didn't press through. Those stay in the spot where you originally put the garlic, and you can click this eject button on the back to pop those right out of there to throw them away nice and easily. The only downside of this product is that because garlic is sticky, it makes quite a mess inside of the little spots where you put those cloves into and the spots where you pressed it out of. So it's a little bit of an annoyance to clean up, but even with the cleanup, I'll still use this press even if I'm just pressing through 1 clove of garlic. That's how much time it saves me. If you've ever tried to shred an entire block of cheese, you know how physically exhausting it can be. So for that, I use this automatic cheese grater. Now there are a couple pieces you have to assemble, but it's pretty easy to put together. This plastic piece right here just goes in and then twists up, and then it comes with a couple different grating choices. I find them to be similar enough, so so I pretty much just use this one every time unless I want something really fine grained, and you just twist that in there. And then you obviously have to cut your food to be the right size, so this whole block won't fit on its own. I'll just break it in half and then toss the whole block of cheese into there. And then all you have to do is hold down the button and it's gonna automatically grate for you, using this little piece to help push it down. So here we go. And that is our entire 8-ounce block of Parmesan cheese, perfectly shredded in about 30 seconds. Now there are a couple minor downsides with this one as well. The main one being that some cheese does get stuck on the inside here, so you've got to take out the shredder and you'll see pieces like this end up getting stuck and not fully grated down. But overall, I'd say at least 95% of the cheese gets perfectly shredded every time, so I don't think it's too big of a deal. The only other thing is that it is 3 pieces that you have to clean up after, but 2 of them, the little black pushy thing and then the plastic piece here, are really simple to clean. It's really just the grater that can be a little bit tricky. Now, if you do swap out that attachment for something like this, which is a spiralizer attachment, you can also slice up things like vegetables. So for example, I've got an entire cucumber here. I'm just gonna push it down with my hand and let's turn this on and get some slices of cucumbers. And after about 5 seconds of slicing this down, look at how perfect all of these cucumber slices are. They are super thin and just ready to eat. So if you're just grating a sprinkle of Parmesan, sure, I'd still just use a microplane rather than grabbing out this bulky product. But for anything more than that, this is a total game changer. Although I mentioned that air fryers can't be included in this video, I think air fryer liners definitely fall into the kitchen gadget category. Now, I have quite a few different air fryer liners so that as one gets dirty, I have plenty of backups. They all pretty much do the same thing. Rather than putting your food directly into the air fryer or the air fryer basket, you can instead put it into one of these liners and then go ahead and cook it the same way, with the benefit of all the mess is going to be contained inside of this liner rather than dripping all over your air fryer. So I'm just going to prepare these French fries with a bit of oil, some seasonings, and a bit of salt, of course. And then we'll bring this over to the air fryer, place it in there and cook just like you would if the liner wasn't there. And then when they're ready, you can grab the liner with all of your food and you can see that all of the mess gets contained in this liner. And because it's made of silicone, it's really easy to clean. With the only downside being that the silicone gets really hot in the air fryer, so you can't really grab the liner with your hands unless you wait about 5 minutes or so. Overall, they're a small change that saves time, cleanup, and honestly sanity, especially on a busy weeknight.